Hi guys, Matthew with Parkway Business Solutions. Today's video is all about, well, custom fields, especially QuickBooks Online Advanced and how to use those custom fields. As an accountant, one of our true jobs, our true deliverables is financial reporting. And to do our job the best way possible, we are often called upon to track certain data points within a business. And custom fields gives us the ability to do that. Now, prior to QuickBooks Online Advanced, we've had custom fields in Essentials and in Plus, but it was only through a text field, a very basic, open-ended, put whatever text you want into it. And that was great. It did give us the ability to track some more information, but it also allowed people to put in incorrect data, typos. The common example, like if you're doing a sales rep, you could put in Matt, M-A-T-T, or Matthew, M-A-T-T-H-E-W, or if you spell it wrong, M-A-T-H-E-W. And if you're going to pull up a report, you need to figure out how much that person sold. You may actually have to go in invoice by invoice by invoice and have to correct any of the Matts to be Matthew, or the wrong one T's to be two T's for Matthew. So with a custom fields, and we'll dive in here, you can do certain things like a drop-down field where you have preset answers that you would select from. That really gives you the ability that you can save a lot of time and energy not focused on the data cleansing. So enough talk about it. Let's jump in real quick here. I'll share my screen and we'll jump into QuickBooks Online Advanced here. I always do like to do a quick disclaimer. The information that you are seeing here, this is a sample file. That means I use this to test and prove things out. I use it for examples at the time. So please understand that if we go into a profit and loss or a balance sheet and the numbers just don't add up perfectly, it's because it's a sample file. With all that being said, to get to your custom fields, you're going to come up to your gear icon at the top and you'll choose custom fields as the choice. You've got the ability that you can do up to 10 custom fields. Out of those 10, 3 can be used as they were before on documents or printed on documents. So 3 on invoices, sales receipts, estimates, purchase orders, so forth. However, you can track up to 10 different data points. From that, there are 4 different types of custom fields that can be used in either a customer information manner or a transaction information manner. The primary difference, and we'll come back and we'll show you actually how it hits a customer record, is the customer information version. Anything you set up this way and you add in at the customer level will automatically populate any documents that you're using the custom fields on. So again, for a customer, it would be your estimates, your sales receipts, and your invoices. Will automatically populate and put that on. So if you have a situation where, again, a sales rep you have a specific rep to a specific client, you could set that up, and every time an invoice was rung up, it would already give credit to that person. On a transaction level instead, the transaction level specifically, it hits the estimate, the invoice, the purchase order, and it allows you to fill it in at that point in time. It's not pre-populated. They both can be changed, of course, at the document level, but transaction information is never pre-populated. Now, if we come into customer info, we'll open it up, and you can see we can create different names for it. And then you're going to have the different types that you can do. So your text one, we've already talked about. That's the very open-ended, put whatever you'd like into it. A great example is if you want to do a referred by, well, that would probably be somebody's name that's consistently changing all the time. So it would be a good use for it. Or a drop-down list instead will give you the ability to add in different selections that a person would have to choose from that list. You can do up to 25 items in a single list. And if you inactivate other ones, you can bring new ones in. So that really does a great job if you have a large sales team, or maybe you have different categories of products that you're wanting to track, or I guess categories of business. Either way, you can actually add some on and then inactivate them, add new ones on, and so forth. If you ever inactivate any of the information, like the different field values or the custom field itself, the information will still be available after the fact. You don't lose that, which is great. On all of these, you also have the ability, you can choose whether you're going to use it on like a sales form and whether or not you want to show it to the customer or not. And that's where that 3 fields comes into play. Now, additionally, besides a drop-down field, You also have a number field, and a number field will only allow you to use digits 0 through 9 and 1 decimal point. So that's a great way to use. We've used examples of like maybe what a preferred billing rate would be. Maybe it's a initial deposit down for property. You could also do like a claim number if it was only numbers, because any of these numbers you can actually then sort, or you can filter by, I should say, by greater than, less than, equal to, so forth. We'll show you that in reporting in a bit. Then the last one is a date field. The date field gives you the ability to have a drop-down field that you can choose any place that's at, you could choose the date. So a great use of that, actually, a good friend Linda always talks about using a date field specifically for like law firms as the date from the initial accident. Or perhaps you have property management and you're dealing with leases, you could actually put your lease date on there and you would be able to tell like when the lease is coming due. Now, all the information we were just talking about, when you come over to your sales and you come into your customer center, you'll see that normally this table looks a lot smaller. With the custom fields, if you click on the gear icon, you can choose additional information that you want to have populated up here. So in this situation, we're using our custom fields of country, sales rep, type of, we put type of client, lead source, content creator, and industry. If I unselect these, they go away, of course, and you'll then see that for each of our clients, we can now see which of these have been set. If you go into an actual customer record, so let's go into good old Nerd Enterprises here, click on the name, you can come in, and of course you can see the details here, and they're listed out, but if you actually go edit, come into here and go to your custom fields, these are the values that you're setting at that customer level. So again, the different drop-down, different choices I'm using here, if I was to create a new estimate, invoice, or purchase order with these on here, estimate or invoice, these values, if they've been pre-populated, will pull up on those documents. So if we come into our sales, our customer list here, we can see with our contract date, we've got a couple people that have specific dates here. So an example of how to use this again would be maybe if it's property management and you want to set the lease date, would be a great way to use it. We have this one set up. We'll pull up an invoice, and on here, these fields will populate in just a second. Anytime you have the date functionality, it's going to do a pop-up calendar that you can select from. Now, when you do this, what ends up happening is the way that you can actually filter this information in reporting also. So let's go over to our reports. And let's go sales by product and service detail. Click on that. And then we'll come up and customize it. Now, of course, we could do it from the lower icon or up top here. We're going to go rows and columns. And let's come into here and we'll go contract date. What the heck, we'll add sales rep on. And then we should have claim number, so I can show you how to use that one as well. So with these new columns added on, I could go straight to my filter, but let's show you. We've got information showing up, contract date here, sales rep, the claim number. We'll go a little wider here. We'll go this year. And now we're starting to see claim numbers on it also. So we got 1023, 1023, 5161. So if we go customize, and now we want to filter by this information, what will happen is, as we showed before, these ones you have the check boxes. But here, if we're doing contract date, you can come in and you can use all the date range information that's standard or built into QuickBooks Online. So you can choose how you want to deal with that, which is great. Additionally, now the key one is kind of like the number field. The number field, if we add this on, click it to bring it, add it to a filter, you're now going to see you have the ability for equals, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to, and you could type in either an invoice, well, whatever your claim number would be here, and it would give you the information from that and above, whatever it is specifically that you're doing the searching by. So if we did, let's real quickly here see again. So we had 1001, 1010, 1006. So let's do a filter for greater than 1002. Come down, go to our filters. Let's go greater than 1002, and we can go run report. So now we've shrunk down, and it's only providing us the ones that actually have a claim number on it, and only the numbers that are above. So with this custom field, you can, as a reminder, you can only do 0 through 9 as numbers with a single decimal point. If you try to do multiple decimal points, it won't accept the answer inside of it. To represent that, we'll click in real quick. Here, if I go 1006, I literally tested by going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, dot 7, 8, dot 9. If I try to save, it's telling me it's not a valid number. If I take off the extra dot, good to go. If I add a dollar sign, doesn't like a dollar sign either. So it's very, very particular about the information that you can put into there. If I remember correctly, even hyphens are, hey, hyphen is accepted. So we'll try that. We'll go save and close. So hyphens and dots are the two primary things that you can actually use inside of there. And then you can use that to do your sorting greater than, less than, so forth. So let's pull up an estimate that I had basically created earlier. We've got all of our fields, everything else inside of there. And on the estimate, you're going to see, again, all the fields are all filled in, but notice this one here, region. So region happens to be one that is a transaction-based field. Project phase is what is as well, but this specific one happens to be set up to work on both sales receipts as well as purchase orders. So the reason I wanted to do an estimate is if you have your transaction-based fields and you use them on an estimate, you can copy the information to a purchase order. And of course, this pop-up is always telling you that if you are the items that you are creating, if you didn't set up a purchase description on them, if you're not saying that you're purchasing them from somebody, they don't transfer over. But we'll click OK. You'll notice that this region field now exists. Now, I didn't actually fill it in, so I'm going to go cancel. That way it didn't actually happen in a sense. We're back here. Let's go region, and let's set Northwest, okay? If we come in, we'll hit save real fast to lock that in. Now we'll go copy to purchase order. You're going to see that that's going to transfer forward. So this is useful for like a point of contact. One of our favorite clients is an interior designer. And basically with interior designers, everything they order is pretty much custom made almost every single time. So for these type of situations, what's great is if you're doing these special orders, you could put a point of contact on it for a project and have that transfer not only towards the purchase orders going out to vendors, but also on the invoices, so forth. So from here, we can set it up. We'll say this is, we'll pull up something. QuickBooks, congratulations, you're now selling toilets. So we'll use that, email, everything else. You could ship it over, of course, and we'll just go save. Okay, actually we'll do save and close. Now that same estimate, if I come back, I can now also turn around and I could create multiple purchase orders if there's different vendors and such. This will now create an invoice for us. And the invoice is going to have all of the details automatically filled in again for you. So with this, we'll set it up, we'll put in our date, we're good there. And now we can go save and we can go save and close. When you do this throughout all of your different transactions, all that information, that's where we start having the ability to actually really create like a whole bunch of custom reporting. So if we were to take the information we just had again, your different types of custom fields, And let's go into look at some of the kind of the reports that you could do. We'll go reports. And I've gone in and I've actually created a whole bunch of custom reports. I'll show you first, and then we can make a couple of them as well. Through these, again, one of the most popular ones we always like to talk about is the ability to use for like a sales by sales rep. So I'll open this one up. What we've basically done is on this specific report, we chose to pull up a sales report, sales detail, and then to customize it. When we come into any of the detailed reports, you actually have a lot of customizations that you can do. There is a specific website that Hector Garcia and I have been working on together to give you a full listing of all of the different functionalities that you can do through custom fields, through classes, locations, projects, so forth. What you will find with this is, inside here are some of the bold specific items. The bold ones are all ones that new columns you can sort by and group by the custom fields, the classes, locations, and customers and projects. So you can basically, it's the most pliable type of reports you can do. And you'll find they all fall right into that sales by, they're all detailed reports, so forth. With these reports, anything that's a detail report, all the detail reports are the ones that you can generally add a new column on and do the filtering and create the grouping by, where a summary report will usually let you filter and do some grouping, but that's about it. We'll show you right now what I'm talking about. So in here, I'm going to go to we're doing the custom report, and we're going to go to our change columns. You can see right off the bat we have our group by. And we have in here, these are some of the custom fields we'd set up. Sales rep, industry, region, content creator. These are all things we chose to add into it. Then by going to the additional columns, we can also add that information on. So in here, we had our sales rep added at the top here, but we could also do content creator. We could do basically any of the values we've selected, of course. Project phase. A little bit further down, we can go to filter, and now filter down here, you have your traditional things you can filter by, but here are also, again, those custom fields. It's important to recognize, though, that when you're dealing with custom fields, unlike if you're using products and service and you have these check boxes at the top where you can select multiples to filter by, custom fields, you can only choose one item. So you have to be selective. You can't choose multiple and then so forth. You can choose multiple different custom fields, of course, but you will have to choose one item in each of those custom fields. If it's a value that's actually a number, you would have the greater than, less than through here. And if it was something that's a date, you would also have the date populate up. We'll add some of those on and show you. So let's come and go run report. You've now seen that it's added these additional columns on with more information. Depending on how you organize this, for this specific one, it's a sales by sales rep. And actually, Hector has a great video where he's talking about this, the use of language when you're naming reports is really important. By is a great way of saying filter. And I believe the other is for is a great way of saying like additional columns. And the way you name them, the naming convention, if you have it standardized, will help you always know what things are for, since you're making the custom reports and you want to make sure that people understand what they're looking at. So this specific report here, the sales by sales rep, what we did is we added on the custom field for a sales rep. We have the other important information, so customer, the date, number. We could take some of this other information off if we wanted to, but really what we're looking for is the total amount. So now we can see that Chris sold $7,500 and Linda sold $3,600 in the same period of time. You'd go in, save the customizations, make sure that you've got them set up in a group, and really, like with sales reps, this is a great one where you could use automation by setting up an individual report for each sales associate and have it automatically sent to them. so they can review their sales and then turn around, confirm it so they can do their commissions. If we go back to a report list, sometimes doing a flat file is going to be one of the best options, which really is just how do we get the most data possible out of QuickBooks Online and into Excel to where we can use it there. So to create a file that looks very much like this, where we've taken all basically the headers, the footers off, and we've just created additional columns of information, the way we accomplished this one is we went over to reports, standard of course at the top here, and we would come down to our transaction list by customers, the one we liked. From inside of here, if we customize this, we come into our rows and columns, we change columns, and we're going to add in any information we think we might need. This is one of the few times that more is definitely better than less, because it will give you more opportunities to manipulate the data into, like through a pivot table. With all of these added in, now we don't want to filter by anything, but we do want to go down to our header and footer section, and we're going to uncheck everything because we just don't care about it really. There's one last important thing we want to do, which is our group by. We want our group by to be set to none, and then choose the period of time. So I'm going to do this one as this year. We can also reorganize these. I would recommend take the time now, organize these in the order that you would find more useful, so you're not having to copy paste and move columns and such around. But let's go report. This will take a second because it's a big bunch of data. It's always a great way to kind of look and see, like if you have a lot of ugly empty area, again, a little bit of finesse here saves you a lot of time in Excel trying to get it cleaned up. I'm going to not take my own advice, and we're going to go export to Excel. Before I do that, check out export to Google Sheets also. So we'll actually, let's do this. We'll go export to Excel. We'll start to open that up. And for the heck of it, let's go export to Google Sheets. Yay. 2 for 1. Excel opened up, enable our editing. And then from here, really the point of it is you can come to the top column here, Control Shift End will give you the entire table area. Control T turns it into a table. Click, your table has headers because it does have the stuff there. And now you've got, again, basically a full structure. The first thing we want to look at is kind of our date format here, because our goal is to turn this into a pivot table. It's very common that dates do not populate necessarily just the right way. If we come in, I'm sorry, we'd actually choose the top one. I go Shift End down, gives us that whole area. Short date. This has been set up as a text so it won't change. So I want to be able to either basically multiply itself by 1, because 1 times anything is still itself, or 1 plus anything is still the same value. So I put 1, go Control Copy, select the first one, Shift and down, come in, paste special, multiply, changes it to the Excel version of numbers. Come back to the top here under Home, and I'm going to go Short Date. And the difference there is now we have it by months, everything else, which is really, really important. We can go by date, which will automatically add months. And now we can start adding things in that we want. We can go customer, we can go amount. So now if we expand all of these, under each of the months, we can see which customer did what, how much, and so forth. So before I turn this into a big Excel example, which could bore a whole bunch of people, the power of doing that flat file is now you can truly take and manipulate the data in numerous different fashions. You can create your own dashboards. You could do like slicers and graphs and so forth. And all of that information all comes off of the ability to use your the custom fields itself.